morning again, Chair, board members, Madam CEO, staff, and members of the public. I remind everyone again to continue to silence your cell phones and other electronic devices for the entire meeting. It is critical that everyone other than the presenter or the board member that is speaking be completely silent during the entire meeting. There are several microphones positioned above you that pick everything up, so please cooperate. If you're a presenter or board member speaking, please speak directly and loudly into the microphone, ensuring that the light on the microphone is green. Thank you for your cooperation. Chair, there is one member of the public wishing to provide comments on items 19 and 23, and that is Anita Reho, hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, and she is a tenant at Douglas Houses. 3 minutes, please.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see all of you in person. I am here because I live in Douglas Houses at 51 Manhattan Avenue. Specifically, it's a 30-unit building. I have lived there for 10 years. We love the vibe. It's very calm. We look out for each other. The caretakers, the workers, everyone's wonderful. So thank you. I'm here to tell you that there is a capital project underway, and it's through MNK Enterprises, LLC. It's a NYCHA project. And I am here to tell you to be here because there's some relevancy, I think, to what I must present. The building is lovely. I've been in close communication with my property manager, the supervisor, and housing court as well, pertaining to the roof, as well as our building not having a front door lock, the entrance. It's been since 2021, and I've put work orders, we've all put work orders, we've all been following all the right channels that we're told to do, and we haven't had a lock. Anyone and everyone can walk through our building and sit down in the lobby and have a cup of tea, and it just doesn't feel safe. There's no intercom, and I'm here because I'm coming as a last resort. I don't know what to do about this. I've followed all the channels. It's in housing court. It's been in housing court for 1 year now, and even prior to that. But the most important thing that I must share with you pertaining to the capital project is that there's scaffolding that went up to address the roofs. We're going to be getting new roof. Yay! That's awesome because it's much needed, because I've been affected by leaks, concealed leaks, and I've been addressing them accordingly. I don't need to bring them up now. But in the process, there is a service ticket that was generated by the Department of Buildings, and I've notified everyone accordingly. Our building is leaning, it's unstable, it's unsafe. So my question is, what are we doing about this? I've brought it to the attention of Joanne Figaro, who's our lovely property manager. It's unstable. I went up to the roof with the maintenance worker because I had another leak on Monday, and it's leaking more so. I think because we're dealing with climate change and the excessive rainfall, so I think we're going to be more affected at a faster rate than usual. And so I'm here. Can I give this service ticket to just yeah.
Right to Ms. Trimble, right over there.
Okay.
There we go.
And I just wanted to bring it to your attention because why are we fixing the roof and point setting and bricklayer work when this needs to be taken care of? It's leaning, and I want to make sure to relay this information to you so that we're not doing a mismanagement of funds, right? We're working together, and that's all I wanted to share with you. I think I've said enough. It's quite intense.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for coming.
So I actually have a staff member here at Orkin, if you raise your
Thank
hand,
you, William.
who can sit with you and take down some additional information so we can make sure we follow up. But we also have the Manhattan Vice President here today, And so we're gonna follow up as well to make sure we have the lock. But then we have capital programs here, so we'll follow up and talk about doing an assessment of the building regarding leaning and stability.
Yeah, I just don't want us to face Section 18 demolition. It can be avoided, hopefully. But thank you so much. Happy holidays, really. Hi, peace.
Thank you, Ms. Rio.
Excuse me.
So much.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hi, yes. Have you contacted Carmen Quinones?
So she's the tenant association president, and I have tried to reach out to her. I don't get a response. It's a hit or a miss. And honestly, I have a very busy schedule with my son, and I don't know when the meetings are or anything. We're a 30-unit building, and maybe there's no communication. I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Chair, that concludes our public comments portion, and we will proceed with the regular calendar. The first order of business is a motion to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting held on Wednesday, February 28, 2024. Do I have a motion, board? Seconded by?
You just got here, you don't get to do that.
I'm sorry, seconded by
I'll second it.
the chair? Thank you.
Sorry, yes,
All in favor?
yes, aye.
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you so much. Chair, you're invited to make remarks as you wish.
I don't have any remarks, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Madam CEO, I also invite you to make remarks as you wish.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I wanted to provide a couple of updates. First, on the trust. This year, NYCHA launched our second resident vote at Bronx River Edition. Currently, both mail and online voting are underway, with in-person voting starting on April 2nd and preliminary vote results expected in mid-April. Engagement at Bronx River Edition has been very, very robust. We have confirmed touch points with about 90% of the 199 eligible resident voters. And in addition, after a successful first resident vote at Nostrand Houses last year, we are preparing for our second quarterly resident meeting there. So very exciting progress on the trust side. I also wanted to provide an update regarding PACT. Last year, NYCHA set a new record by converting more than 5,200 units to Section 8 through the Permanent Affordability Commitment Together program. In 2023, we also closed on financing for $1.8 billion for capital repairs at PACT developments, the largest capital financing in the program's history. We are also excited to announce the launch of our PACT Progress and Oversight Dashboard on our PACT website. The dashboard will allow residents, elected officials, and any stakeholders to see the performance of our PACT developments after a conversion, similarly to how you can see data and information about our current Section 9 developments. At Fulton and Elliott Chelsea, the environmental review process and public comment period ended on March 8th. After launching in January with public meetings held in both January and February. The next steps include continued engagement and resident workshops, posting a draft EIS statement and final scope of work this summer, and likely beginning the ULO process in 2025. With respect to our comprehensive modernization program, in January, NYCHA announced a contract with the Community Modernization Group to undertake over $150 million in renovations at Toad Hill Houses in Staten Island, benefiting over 1,000 residents in more than 500 apartments across 7 buildings. Following this, in March, a contract with the St. Nicholas Revitalization Partners was executed to conduct over $477 million in renovations at St. Nicholas Houses in Harlem, impacting 3,340 residents across 1,526 apartments and 13 buildings. Gowanus and Wyckoff Gardens, funded through the Gowanus neighborhood rezoning, are nearly at the conclusion of their procurement process, with the announcement of the selected design build team expected in the coming months. The work scope for each site has been uniquely tailored based on comprehensive feedback from the residents, property management, tenant association, leadership, and local elected officials. I would also like to call Guy Olivieri, who is our Vice President of Procurement Policy and Reform, to provide an update on NYCHA's MWBE program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Chair, CEO, and board members for Deputy Mayor. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity today to present NYCHA's MWBE program to you. If you'll just indulge me for a minute before I get started, I just wanted to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the vendor diversity team. I asked them to join me here today. Sitting in the back row is Deputy Director Christina Giancarelli. She is a third generation NYCHA employee. Her mom and her grandmom both work at NYCHA, both lifelong. And then everyone else there, and everybody else here has joined the vendor diversity team in the past 2 years. And I'm just gonna recognize them in an order of them joining. It's Nadia Andrews, Latoya Berkeley, Fabio Streets, and Nicole Johnson. Thank you all for your work. Before I jump into, so my name is Guy Olivieri. I'm the Vice President of Procurement Policy and Performance Management. That's within the Procurement Department here at NYCHA. And before I jump into the presentation, I just wanted to highlight briefly how NYCHA's procurement rules are different from the city's procurement rules. So going through the presentation, you'll have a little bit of context of what NYCHA is able to do and what NYCHA isn't able to do. NYCHA's procurements are governed by Code of Federal Regulations, CFR Part 200, also public housing law, we are not subject to local law 1 of the city. We do not have the ability to use the city's discretionary non-competitive small purchase method, which city agencies are allowed to go up to 1.5 million. So we're constrained by public housing law, so our bread and butter is sealed bids for construction and related, and all of those over $50,000, all of those have to be by the competitive sealed bid method, which means we're required to award on price. So to responsive and responsible vendors. So just that context, because we do have some constraints, but I still think we're growing, we're moving in the right direction, and I hope to show that. So Karina, next slide, please. So I'll just start to say that we are committed to addressing historic disparities in contracting, in providing contracting opportunities to minority women entrepreneurs. And we apply goals to everything. So one way where we have a little bit more flexibility in the city is we don't limit, for example, our goods contracts to $1 million. So we apply goals to all of our goods contracts. And we have some, large supply contracts. So our program is essentially, the easiest way to understand our program is to look at it at the quote-unquote larger procurements and then the smaller procurements. The ones over, generally speaking, over $250,000 are all subject to mandatory goals, a 30% goal, 15% to minority-owned and 15% to women-owned. And then the smaller ones, the ones where we have discretion, either micro purchases or small purchases, where we do quote-unquote 3 bids and a buy, we preference Section 3 business concerns and MWBEs over other vendors. And we have processes in place that we put in place. We trained the whole authority on these processes, and I get a lot of grumbling about these processes sometimes, but we don't care. Everyone has to either identify an MWBE to contract with in those smaller spaces or demonstrate that they've looked, fill out a tracker and at least demonstrate that they've tried. Next slide, please. So I'm happy to discuss these, our performance, because I think it's been strong and it's getting stronger. Most of you are familiar with the mayor's one NYC goal, awarding $60 billion to MWBEs by 2030. NYCHA is the third biggest contributor, and this is cumulative over fiscal years 2015 to 2023. We're the third highest, 4.37 billion to MWBEs during that period, and that we're third overall, second highest non-mayoral. SCA is the highest overall, the highest non-mayoral, and then DTC is the other one that has awarded more. And then you'll see on the next chart, because the next slide, because I have a chart, but just to highlight that from 2020 through 2023, all full year, that's NYCHA fiscal year, which is a calendar year, which is different from the city the city fiscal year. But we've grown in prime awards over this period from 17 to 27%. And in overall utilization, including subs, we've gone from 20 to 35% during this time. So if we have next slide, please. You can see the trend. The gray is overall, the orange is our sub utilization, and the bottom blue is our prime utilization. And we hope to see this continue going in this direction. And again, thanks to the hard work of the vendor diversity team and other teams, I want to acknowledge there are other teams at NYCHA that also work very hard. ANCM particularly has a dedicated team, and they work hard as well. Next slide, please. I know those numbers are hard to see, but I guess this will be shared. So I could just talk briefly about some things that we've done. We've come a long way in a short time. We launched our mandatory goals program in July 2021. And we launched the program, but then we had to put everything in place. We had to put the utilization process in place. That's one thing that team does. They look through every single utilization plan, and they can tell you my philosophy is always whatever they're proposing, ask for more. So we always ask for more. And I'm not making this up. We often, when you press, you get better results. It's 100% proven. We added a lot of important information on our websites, including like how to respond to a sealed bid. We recorded that and put that up there. And there's a lot of information up there that wasn't there before. We have a vendor newsletter. We reorganized procurement and built the vendor diversity team. We're actively recruiting for one more senior position to join the team to push harder. We updated the procurement policy manual with the goals and the first policy, which is the preference for smaller procurements to MWBEs. We host a bunch of events. We do office hours. We're actively, engaging with the vendor community, as much as we can. We mentioned we trained all NYCHA staff, and we added to, again, we're a little bit limited. We can't use best value because of our procurement rules on like CSBs, but we can and did add 10-point evaluation in the RFPs to award for commitment to diversity, and there we evaluate the quality of the proposers' MWBE and Section 3 plans and commitments. Next slide, please. These are things that we have in progress. I'll try to be quick. We're working on pre-qualified lists. These are pre-qualification lists for certain trades like electrical, carpentry, plumbing, lead-based paint, 3 types of those, and a bunch of other trades. Right now, over half of those approved vendors, I think it's like 74 out of 130 something, are MWBE, so those are definitely MWBE forward. We're hosting Break Into Action May 2nd at BMCC. That's our next upcoming event where we're going to feature the PQLs. The logo is a piñata. And when you break the piñata, the tools come out of it because it's Cinco de Mayo kind of thing. So just try to have fun with it a little bit. And then we're working on e-comply, which is a huge deal, right? When we're moving everything from PDF forms and paper all the way into an online system, and that is going to greatly improve our ability to monitor, track, and enforce compliance on MWBE and Section 3. I'm hoping to roll out all the new features and functionalities in this year, in 2024, NYCHA 2024. So we are working closely with the mayor's office on the mentorship program. We submitted 2 scopes of work for that. We're anxious, I know that February, the legislation became effective, so we're looking forward to that. And maybe down the line, we'd like to do our own program. We see that as an opportunity that we can structure it to support both Section 3 business concerns and MWBEs. It's a small business program, but and then a dream is to get some discretion to award to Section 3 business concerns and MWBE, but that requires a lot of legislative heavy lifting on the federal and state side. And then one more slide, I think? No, that's it. Okay. Are there any questions? I'm happy to take any questions.
A couple questions. The 15% women versus, I mean, obviously in the women category, it can be minority women,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And do you all do a diversity study to understand the disparity within the disparities as well?
Well, we have adopted the city's current. We didn't have our own. We have adopted the city's current, which is, and as you know, very familiar, I'm sure that SBS is now going out with a new study, and we are participating in that. And we are actively participating in that. We'll be supplying our data, and we're very interested to see the results. I mean, we also know that there is a disparity within the disparity. I can look at where our awards are coming from, and I can see it's, heavily in certain groups, and heavily, there's certain other groups that are not being awarded in proportion to availability. So it's something that we work on. I mean, the mentorship is really where you could focus on that. It's a struggle. I mean, some of it is industry. There's certain ethnic groups that have a dominance in the construction industry, and so much of what we do is in that industry. And then we're constrained by the sealed bid method.
Okay. And then you said that quote unquote mandatory program. What did that air quotes mean? I was just curious.
We're not subject to local law 1 or admin code 6129, so it isn't actually in any,
It's not-
I'll defer to our,
It's not codified.
yeah, I was,
The lawyer comes out, okay.
Yeah.
All right, just good.
It's full of them.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, wait, I think, no, you sure? Okay. Thank you, Guy.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now proceed to the calendared items 1 through 26. Item 1, Javier.
Good morning, all. My name is Javier Almoloval. I am the VP for NYCHA's Heating Management Services Department, and I request authorization to amend job order contract number 1923580 awarded to Penn Enterprise Incorporated to include an extension to the terms of the job order contract for an additional 12 months from December 2nd, 2023 through December 1st, 2024. There have been 2 prior contract capacity increases for a total amount of $19,903,174.96. This contract capacity increase to the not to exceed amount of $6,250,000 is required in order to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the extended 12-month term. The job order contract provides for general mechanical construction and trade renovation work. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, furnishing all labor, materials, tools, equipment, insurance, and incidentals required for general mechanical construction and trade renovation work on an as-needed basis. There's 1 Section 3 hire, and a vendor name check is not required. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment.
Okay,
I want to thank you very much for the assistance you gave the residents of Manhattan.
well, you're very welcome, that's what I do, why I'm here,
Thank you.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
No further questions, thank you very much.
Thank you, Javier.
Have a great day,
Cindy,
everyone.
2 through 4.
Morning, board members. My name is Cindy Anderson. I'm the Vice President for IT Service Management. I'll be presenting items 2 through 4 for your consideration, representing the Information Technology Department. Item 2 is a request to enter into an agreement with Stellar Services Incorporated, or Stellar, for IT field services support and on-demand IT services. This agreement with Stellar for a period of April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2029 includes an initial 3-year term and 2 one-year renewal options, and has a total not to exceed amount of $3 million. The contract provides IT field services support, on-demand project-based services, technical staff augmentation support, and no-cost warranty service. Field support services and on-demand IT services support critical technology support for our field office staff, including our property management, skilled trades, and maintenance staff. Currently, the authority supports over 6,500 desktop computers located throughout the 5 boroughs. The agreement provides resources to support regular maintenance and repairs for on-site personnel and the removal or moving of equipment for office closures, PAC-RAD development conversions, or management or borough office needs. Stellar is certified as a minority-owned business enterprise by the MWBE program at the NYC Department of Small Business Services. Stellar itself is an MBE, and their utilization plan includes a commitment to subcontract services to 15% MBE and 15% WBE suppliers for IT support services. In lieu of Section 3 labor hours, Stellar has committed under other economic opportunities to provide internships to authority residents. Stellar expects to provide an estimated 3 positions as junior tech trainees for computer setup and troubleshooting for the duration of this agreement. Stellar also projected to provide help desk support and on-site resolution to 1 Section 3 business concern company for 80 hours. The contract was procured via a competitive solicitation with the selection determined by an evaluation committee. This proposed agreement with Stellar will enable the authority to continue support for ongoing business functions and new initiatives. Happy to take any questions.
Proceed.
Item 3 is a request to ratify NYCHA's agreement with Verizon for the procurement of voice and data telecommunication services. This agreement with Verizon is for $35 million, beginning on January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2028, and is based upon the terms and conditions of the New York City Office of Technology and Innovation, or OTI's Master Services Agreement. This agreement includes the following telecommunication services for NYCHA: high-speed citywide internet Ethernet backbone used to connect our NYCHA offices to each other, dedicated high-speed internet access providing for NYCHA staff access as well as public access to the authority's public-facing applications used by NYCHA residents, Section 8 applicants, partners, and citizens. Broadband, POTS, or plain old telephony service, and VoIP, voice over IP, services that are used to provide connections within offices, to connect field sites to central office services, and to support dedicated lines in our NYCHA developments, supporting intercom, elevator, fire alarms, and other building monitoring and support services. The cost of existing services would total approximately $32 million over 5 years. A 10% contingency was added to account for new initiatives and updated technology over the next 5 years to arrive at a total ceiling amount of $35 million. Through a negotiated renewal of the authority's participation service agreement, the authority obtains the lowest price services offered on the Verizon OTI MSA. Verizon's Section 3 and Resident Economic Opportunity Plan includes a commitment to provide outreach and recruitment to NYCHA residents. Verizon will utilize partners to help NYCHA residents obtain jobs, as well as provide access to the Verizon Thrive Apprenticeship Program. Verizon's Thrive Apprenticeship Program is an innovative initiative that provides vocational training and opportunities for individuals to thrive in the tech industry. It's a 12-month apprenticeship that prepares individuals for jobs of the future in areas such as software development, cloud, cybersecurity, data analytics, with future opportunity to scale into other demand areas as well. Successful completion of the program are converted to full-time roles within Verizon. Its goal is to provide a skilled, talented pipeline to fill the identified critical skill gaps through workforce planning with a focus on diversity. In addition, Verizon is committed under other economic opportunities to provide training in resume preparation, job selection, coaching, and mock interviews for 100 authority residents annually for 1 to 2 hours per resident for the term of the agreement. Happy to answer questions.
You may proceed.
Quick question, how many slots on that apprenticeship program?
They have not given us a number of slots, I don't think.
I can get it later.
Yeah, okay, I'll look it up and get back to you. Item 4 is to request a ratification for a contract capacity increase with CGI Technologies and Solutions, or CGI, for legal status implementation professional services. Authorization is requested to ratify an amendment to the agreement with CGI. The initial one-year agreement for $350,000 did not require board authorization. There has been one previous contract capacity increase of $200,000. This amendment extends the term for an additional 6 months and increases the contract capacity by an additional $599,271, bringing the total not to exceed amount to $1,149,271. The amendment is required to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the extended 6-month timeframe, which commenced on January 17th, 2024, and is continuing through July 16th, 2024. This agreement with CGI provides for legal status implementation professional services. CGI utilizes Litify's legal status software as its legal case and matter management system, case-related document repository, and electronic billing platform. CGI was selected using single-source procurement procedures to integrate the authority's system with Legal Stratus. The Legal Stratus platform operates using Salesforce Cloud software. The authority is requesting an additional increase in the amount of $599,271 using a fixed-price model for services performed by CGI, which will include the development, testing, and deployment of additional software enhancements to clear and rectify an extensive backlog list of housing litigation with the authority. The enhancements will also align Legal Stratus with the authority's Oracle e-business suite financial software to reconcile invoices and properly process legal vendor payments through our systems. As the work is currently in progress, it's of utmost importance to move towards the end of the project as quickly as possible with the current vendor in place. CGI is committed under other economic opportunities to hire 1 to 3 consultants and offer internships to 1 to 2 consultants. Each hired consultant would work a 40-hour workweek schedule at approximately $50 to $70 per hour for a period of 48 months. Each intern would work at least 20 hours per week over a period of 48 months. Yeah, take questions.
Yeah, no questions, thank you so much, Cindy. Jacqueline, items 5 through 7.
Good morning, board members. My name is Jacqueline Sullivan. I'm the Vice President for Healthy Homes, and I'll be presenting on items 5, 6, and 7 today. Item 5 is requesting authorization to award a citywide contract to Athenica Environmental Services for asbestos investigations, project management, and asbestos abatement project monitoring. This contract has a not to exceed amount of $2 million and a total projected labor hours of 4,500 with 1,125 Section 3 labor hours. Item 6 is requesting authorization to approve a contract capacity increase to New York Environmental Services for asbestos abatement and replacement of floor tiles in move-out apartments. The increase to the not-to-exceed amount is $15 million, which is needed to fund the continued provisions of services during the remainder of the initial 3-year term. This contract has a total projected labor hours of 162,240 with 40,576 Section 3 labor hours. Item 7 is requesting authorization to ratify an amendment for a citywide lead abatement contract for Joseph in order to extend the term for an additional 12 months. Additionally, I am requesting authorization to approve a contract capacity increase to fund the extension of the contract. The increase to the not-to-exceed amount is $5,006,460. Joseph has indicated on its Section 3 hiring plan that it intends to hire 2 hazardous material handlers. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Items 8 through 10, Erinice.
Morning, everyone. My name is Berenice Tavares, and I'm the Manhattan Public Housing Operations Vice President, and today I'll be presenting on behalf of the Public Housing Operations Division, on behalf of Daniel Green, EVP, for our division. I'll be presenting items A to 10. Item 8 seeks authorization to ratify the award of an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Simco Enterprises Corp., for welding services. The scope of work includes and is unlimited to furnishings of all labor, supervision, materials, equipment, tools, and insurance required to perform welding citywide. Please note that there were 5 other bidders who were deemed non-responsive for failure to comply with the provisions outlined in the authority's bid documents. This is a 3-year contract, which also provides for a 2 one-year renewal option to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. The contract not to exceed amount being requested is for $10 million. The total Section 3 labor hours is 2,500. A vendor name check dated November 24th, 2023 was vetted by the Procurement Ethics and Vendor Responsibility Department, which found no issue to preclude award. Any questions?
Proceed.
Item 9 seeks authorization to approve contract capacity increase of an IDIQ contract awarded to RAS Interiors Limited for maintenance, painting of apartments, interior and exterior public spaces previously authorized by Board Resolution 23-2 for an initial 2-year term with a 1-year renewal option. The increase to the next not to exceed amount is required in order to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 2-year term and the 1-year renewal option term, which commenced September 12, 2022, and is continuing through September 11, 2025. The not to exceed amount being requested is for $2,500,000. The total Section 3 labor hours is 2,100. A vendor name check is not required in this case. Any questions?
Proceed.
Item 10 seeks the authorization to approve contract capacity increase of an IDIQ contract awarded to JCC Construction Corp. For replacement of underground piping, which includes sewer and fire utility distribution. Previously authorized by Board Resolution 22-9, 28-12 for an initial 3-year term with 2 1-year renewal options. The increase of the not to exceed amount is required in order to address the high demand for replacement and repairs of underground piping and fire lines. The increase will allow for continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 3-year term, which commenced December 27, 2022, and is continuing through December 26, 2025. The requested not to exceed amount is for $10,050,000. The contractor has projected 9,193.5 labor hours under Section 3. Vendor name check is not required. Your consideration of these items is highly appreciated. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Berenice. Oh, Vice Chair.
Just have a statement. I would be remiss if I did not thank you as well for the help you've given the Manhattanville residents, the Wagner residents, and the East Side residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing matters to our attention. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Berenice. Item 11, Joy.
Morning, I'm Joyce Inderbrand, Senior Vice President for Capital Programs. I'm here to present item 11. Asset and Capital Management seeks authorization to approve a change order in the amount of $2,155,201.28. To WDF for repairs occurring at the roof houses in the Recovery and Resilience Program. There's a number of issues that led to this change order. It's a couple of them I'll mention now. There were large underground storage tanks abandoned in place, which were not mapped under the foundation of a major building that was housing high pressure steam for the campus. So we had to change the type of piles for that building. We needed to add new doors and floodproofing at the Brewer Community Center. And FDNY and Con Edison made requests of us to amend the design after construction had already begun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
12 through 22, Oliver.
Can you hear me? Wonderful. Good morning, board, colleagues. My name is Oliver Osterwin. I'm the Vice President for Project Management and Asset and Capital Management. I'll be presenting the next 11 items, starting with item 12, which seeks authorization to award a contract for gas riser replacement at Van Dyke 1 in the amount of $6,922,300 to DDS Mechanical Plumbing and Heating Corp. The projected Section 3 labor hours are 819, which represents 25% of the projected total.
Proceed unless there's a question, Oliver. Okay.
Very well. Items 13 through 15 seek authorization to award 3 IDIQ jocks for roof work at various developments in the not to exceed amount of $10 million each. 2 are to be awarded to Zoria Housing LLC with a bid factor of 1.35 and 1 to WDF Inc. with a bid factor of 1.4229. The authority is seeking to award a 4th contract to Icon Contracting Group. Their bid factor is 1.395. However, they have several pending documents before their contract can be finalized. And once they have been finalized, ANCM intends to seek board authorization to award that contract as well. The authority's estimated bid factor was 1.4 based on current market conditions and bid factors received by NYCHA and other agencies. The term for the IDIQ jocks is 3 years with 2 one-year renewal options to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. The projected Section 3 labor hours are 7,250, 3,375, and 9,730 respectively, which represents 25% of the overall. Items 16 through 18 seek authorization to ratify the award of 3 IDIQ jocks for general construction at various developments citywide in the not to exceed amounts of $15 million each. 2 are to be awarded to Gemco Electrical Contractors Inc. with a bid factor of 1.1719 and 1 to Empire Control Abatement Inc. with a bid factor of 1.325. The authority's submitted bid factor was 1.4 based on current market conditions and bid factors received by NYCHA and other agencies. The term for these IDIQ jocks is 3 years with 2 one-year renewal options. The projected Section 3 labor hours are 1,125, 1,125, and 10,500 respectively, which represents 25% of the overall. Items 19 through 21 seek authorization to amend 3 board resolutions, 23-1/30-15, 23-11/30-16, and 23-11-30-17, which authorize the award of 3 IDIQ contracts for grounds improvements to correct the erroneous stated NTE amounts to the correct amount, which is $15 million for each contract, and approve a contract capacity increase to increase the NTE amounts for the difference in the amounts already approved by the board. The CCI amounts are $2,018,616, $1,110,000, and $2,018,616 respectively. All other terms and conditions set forth in these board resolutions shall remain unchanged. And finally, item 22 seeks authorization to amend board resolution 23-12/19-24, which authorized the award of a contract for roofing replacement and rooftop structure renovation at Lincoln Houses to AMD Construction Inc. in the amount of $19,219,709 with an erroneous contract term duration of 2 years and 19 days. The corrected contract term duration is 2 years.
I just have a question. It says
Yes.
Section 3 and not required. Just explain that, please, the 19 and 22.
For 19, so These are amendments to prior resolutions.
Okay.
So these would have
But they
section
would already
three,
be
but those are already,
incorporated.
yes, correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The section 3 numbers will likely be in the originals.
Yeah, got it.
Thank you, Oliver. Item 23, Alphonsine.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alfonsino Hidalgo. I'm a project manager for transaction in the real estate development department, and I'm presenting on item number 23 today. Item number 23 relates to the initial HUD application for upcoming PAC conversions. We are seeking board approval to submit the initial RAD and Section 18 applications to HUD for upcoming PAC project. To date, NYCHA has converted over 20,000 apartments across 84 developments through the PAC program. Additionally, there are over 17,000 units across 54 developments in various stages of planning and pre-development, bringing the total number of units in the PAC program to over 37,000. This number includes the development that we are seeking approval for today. In Brooklyn, we are seeking approval for Bayview. In Manhattan, we are seeking approval for Hernandez, Melso Tower, and Sewer Park Extension. In the Bronx, we are seeking approval for Murphy Private, which is comprised of Ho Avenue, East 173rd Street, Bryan Avenue, East 74th Street, East 173rd Street, Vice Avenue, Hunts Point Avenue Rehab, West Farm Road Rehab, West Farm Square Conventional, Longfellow Avenue Rehab, and East 165th Street, Bryan Avenue. As we do with each project, we come to the board first for authorization to submit this initial application, and will return for authorization to complete the PAC transaction. In that request will include detailed information on the project site and transaction, including a summary of the proposed PAC partner team, the financing, resident engagement, and Section 3 hiring. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Alphonsine.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Items 24, 25, James.
I'll make it short. Doesn't matter.
Thanks. Good morning, board members. My name is James Hall. I'm a senior project manager on the transactions team in the real estate development department, and I'll be presenting items number 24 and number 25 today. For number 24, we're seeking board approval related to the PAC conversion of the West Brighton development, consisting of 598 units in West Brighton on Staten Island. This will be NYCHA's first PAC conversion on Staten Island for all the Staten Island fans out there. We first came to the board for this conversion in July 2023 when we sought board approval to submit the initial applications to HUD. We're now coming back to the board to request authorization to seek the final HUD approvals and enter into documents necessary to close on the PAC conversion at West Brighton later this year. Through NYCHA's PAC program, NYCHA seeks to convert developments from Section 9 funding to project-based Section 8, which is a more stable source of federal funding. We do this using HUD's Rental Assistance Demonstration Program, known as RAD, and by partnering with a team of private and nonprofit developers, general contractors, property managers, and social service providers. In December 2021, NYCHA issued the PAC Round 12 Request for Expressions of Interest, or the RFEI, for the PAC conversion of 4 projects, including West Brighton. The other projects in the RFEI are Wrangell, Eastchester, and Moore, East 152nd Street, Cortland. NYCHA conditionally selected a PAC partner team for West Brighton in January 2023 after a competitive evaluation of the 3 proposals received. The PAC partner is made up of the following groups: BFC Partners LLC, CB Emmanuel Realty LLC, and Catholic Homes. Of this group, CB Emmanuel Realty LLC is a minority-owned company. The property manager is Pinnacle City Living, a non-minority entity. The co-general contractors are West Brighton Builder LLC, an affiliate of BFC Partners, and CB Emmanuel Realty. Upon receipt of our initial RAD application, which was authorized by our prior board resolution, HUD issued its initial approval for the transaction through its commitment to enter into a housing assistance payment, or a CHAP contract, on September 28th, 2023. At closing, NYCHA and the PAC partner will enter into a housing assistance payment known as a HAP contract, which will be administered by the authority's leased housing department. The transaction remains subject to HUD's RAD and Section 18 approvals, which are required prior to the transaction closing. The New York City Deputy Mayor of Housing and Economic Development issued a letter of support for the proposed transaction in June 2023. Recapitalizing and rehabilitating West Brighton is anticipated to cost approximately $360 million. HDC will oversee the financing of the transaction, which is anticipated to include a permanent loan to be issued or arranged by HDC. NYCHA will rely on HDC's sponsor review process in lieu of an independent vendor name check. HDC's sponsor review is in process and will be completed prior to closing. The final transaction budget is subject to approval by NYCHA, HDC, and HUD. Regarding the project's scope of work, a capital needs assessment, or CNA, will be completed. The CNA assesses current needs and serves as an update on the content in NYCHA's current physical needs assessment, or the PNA. NYCHA will approve the scope of work and confirm that it addresses all items in the PNA and CNA. The scope of work will be finalized before closing and will be presented to residents before construction starts. The scope of work generally includes work addressing needs in interior units, hallways, lobbies, mechanical systems, building facades, landscaping, among other things. West Brighton residents will benefit from a comprehensive renovation of their homes and from HUD's RAD resident protections and affordability restrictions. They will have the same basic rights as they do under the public housing program. The resident benefits are itemized in further detail in the board materials. The authority and the PAC partner have met with residents and will continue to engage with residents throughout this process via meetings and written notices. NYCHA and the PAC developer have held over 7 meetings at the site since designation, and residents are advised of their ability to access Legal Aid Society's hotline to discuss questions related to the conversion. In terms of resident hiring, the PAC partner has provided a hiring plan that outlines labor hours, training opportunities, and other economic opportunities, the details of which are provided in board materials. It is estimated that the project will generate 516,620 projected labor hours and 129,155 projected Section 3 labor hours. We're anticipating that the PACT conversion will take place later this year, and we'll work with our partners to make sure this transition is as smooth as possible. Thank you. Please let me know if there are any questions on item number 24.
You may proceed.
As I mentioned, I'm also presenting item number 25. I won't repeat what I presented for West Brighton. That's also applicable for Sac Warren. And will present on portions of the board materials that are specific to Sac Warren. So we are seeking board approval relating to the PACT conversion of the Sac Warren development, consisting of 413 units in the Soundview neighborhood in the Bronx. We first came to the board for this conversion in September 2022, when we sought board approval to submit the initial applications to HUD. We're now coming back to the board to request authorization to seek final HUD approvals and enter into documents necessary to close on our PACT conversion at Sac Warren later this year. In May 2021, NYCHA issued the PACT Round 10 request for expressions of interest, the RFEI, for the PACT conversions of 4 projects, including Sac Warren. The other projects in that RFEI are Union Avenue Consolidated, which closed last year, Ocean Hill and Sty Gardens, and Wilson Consolidated. NYCHA conditionally selected a PAC partner for Sac Warren in October 2022 after a competitive evaluation of the 3 proposals received. The PAC partner for Sac Warren is made up of the following groups: DD Sac Warren LLC, an affiliate of Douglaston Development, Aslan Sac Warren LLC, an affiliate of Aslan Capital Partners, and BG Sac Warren Housing Development Fund Corporation, an affiliate of Breaking Ground. Of the PAC partner, Aslan Capital Partners is a minority-owned company. The property manager, Clinton Management, is an affiliate of Douglaston and is a non-minority entity. The general contractor, Levine Builders, is an affiliate of Douglaston as well and is a non-minority entity. Upon receipt of our initial RAD application, which was authorized by our prior board resolution, HUD issued its initial approval for the transaction through its commitment to enter into a housing assistance payment contract on January 20th, 2023. At closing, NYCHA and the PAC partner will enter into a housing assistance payment, a HAP contract, which will be then administered by the authority's leased housing department. Transaction remains subject to HUD's RAD and Section 18 approvals, which are required prior to the transaction closing. The New York City Deputy Mayor of Housing and Economic Development issued a letter of support for the proposed transactions in September 2022. Recapitalizing and rehabilitating Sac Warren is anticipated to cost approximately $250 million. HDC will oversee the financing of this transaction as well, which is anticipated to include a permanent loan to be issued or arranged by HDC. NYCHA will rely on HDC's sponsor review in lieu of an independent vendor name check. The final transaction budget is also subject to approval by NYCHA, HDC, and HUD. The authority and the PAC partner have met with residents and will continue to engage with residents throughout the process via meetings and written notices. NYCHA and the PAC developer have held over 10 meetings at the site since designation, and residents are also advised of their ability to access Legal Aid Society's hotline to discuss questions regarding the conversion. In terms of resident hiring, the PAC partner has provided a hiring plan that outlines labor hours and training opportunities, and as well as other economic opportunities, the details of which are provided in the board materials. It is estimated that the project will generate 102,500 total projected labor hours and 25,625 estimated Section 3 labor hours. We're anticipating that the PAC's conversion will take place later this year. Thank you so much for your time, and please let me know if you have any additional questions on item number 25.
Not a question, but a comment. I believe the numbers that we heard on our briefing was that we've completed 20,000 units and we have 17,000 in progress, which is, if my math is right, 37,000 of the goal of 60,000, which I think is terrific. So, 62,000, sorry, corrected. So 37,000 of 62,000, which is great. So thank you all for the hard work. Goes in.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James. And item 26, Jack.
Hello. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Jack Neiman, and I'm Senior Project Manager for Asset Management in the Real Estate Development Department, presenting item 26 for your consideration. Item 26 relates to the PAC Manhattan Bundle, which is a collection of scattered site developments throughout Manhattan, from Upper Manhattan to East 28th Street. It is comprised of 16 developments totaling 1,718 units and 12 commercial and community spaces. The project closed on November 30th, 2020, at which time the PAC partner assumed management and began a comprehensive rehabilitation. PAC Manhattan Bundle was first presented to the board in connection with the initial application made to HUD in September 2020. We're now coming back to the board to request authorization to modify the financial terms as it relates to the Partnership Committee Authority and the PAC Renaissance Collaborative LLC, or the PAC partner. For a detailed list of the entities comprising the PAC partner, please refer to the board resolution. The modification of financial terms will address both near-term challenges the project has been facing, as well as ensure long-term financial viability. Specifically, NYCHA proposes to defer its portion of the net cash flow payments to the PAC partner for a period of 7 years. This change to the project's financial structure would be reflected in a modification to the existing agreements. The total development cost of the PAC Manhattan Bundle was over $460 million. For a detailed breakdown of the capital stack, please refer to the board resolution. I'll now provide some background on the 3 most salient challenges the PAC partner has been facing since closing in late 2020. Firstly, the building conditions encountered during the rehabilitation were significantly worse than expected, resulting in construction costs that were higher than budgeted. The project closed in November 2020, so pre-development on-site due diligence was hampered by the pandemic and access concerns. Secondly, the project was underwritten to an operating budget that differs notably from actual post-closing operating expenses. Since closing in 2022, Utility expenses increased 24%, insurance costs increased by 64%, and payroll costs rose 50%. Fed has since adjusted the underwriting guidelines for the authority's PAC projects to recognize this trend in increasing operating expenses. Lastly, the project has experienced higher economic and fiscal vacancy rates than were accounted for at closing. The PAC partner's closing underwriting accounted for approximately $2 million annually in economic and fiscal vacancies. The PAC partner reported almost double this rate in 2022, or $4.5 million in economic and fiscal vacancies. Similarly, the PAC partner has experienced challenges in leasing up vacant units. NYCHA is working closely with the PAC partner to assist in leasing up vacant units more efficiently. As mentioned previously, to address these challenges, the authority proposes to defer its share of cash flow for a period of 7 years. Such deferred and accrued cash flow shall accrue interest and shall be payable to NYCHA upon refinancing. This will put the PAC Manhattan Bundle project back on solid financial footing and enable the PAC partner to achieve future net operating incomes that are higher than their initial projections at project closing. In conclusion, we're requesting approval to modify the existing agreements to reflect these updated financial terms. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
So this is one that, it's been going on for a long time. I know it was a very difficult project. So I just want to say congratulations to you and the team, John, the real estate team, for getting this one done. I know there's been a lot of work involved. And thanks also to the PAC partners, who I'm assuming are not here, but who stuck with it and worked closely with your team to come to a deal that made sense for both sides and for the residents, most importantly. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. All right. Chair, 26 items were presented for board approval. Board, may I have a motion to approve the 26 items?
Gavin.
Thank you. Seconded by?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Being that all matters before the board today have been addressed, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Seconded by?
Aye.
Thank you, Member Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? Thank you. The recorded end time, 11:20. Thank you all. The next NYCHA board meeting is scheduled for Friday, April 26th, 2024 at 10 a.m. See you then.
Thank you.